What is going on, guys? My name is Will, and just as promised, today I'm here to bring you the video review of NF's The Search. So, after listening to the music video yesterday for Leave Me Alone, I didn't really want to make this video because I feel like, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, so let me just get this out of the way. And if this is where you leave the video, this is where you leave the video. The album's good. The album's great. The album's amazing. Okay? So now that we've got that out of the way and I'm not over here pretending to critique something that I don't like, let's get started. One of the things I really like about NF's style as a whole when it comes to creating and crafting albums is the cohesive nature and the flow of one song to another song. And one of the things I appreciate are the intros and outros. Of course, in Perception, we had intro 3 and then we had outro. In Therapy Session, we had intro 2 and we had, was it Oh Lord? I think it was Oh Lord. And then in Mansion, we had intro and then we had I'll Keep On. So one of the things that I really appreciate is the way that this one starts out powerful with The Search, which is an intro-like song, and ends with Trauma, which is one of the most, which in my opinion is one of the most beautiful songs that NF has created to date. Another thing I'd like to get out of the way is that the production of this album is amazing, especially the songs that Tommy Prophet produced. One of the things I caught, which I thought was interesting, and this may have not been intended at all, a lot of the songs, for instance The Search, had a very Arkham City-esque feel to it, and I also really liked how the Leave Me Alone video was shot at an amusement park, and I really enjoyed that, and the music, the music working with that really gave me some Arkham City vibes, which, for those of you that don't know, Arkham City is one of my favorite video games of all time, so of course I was all on board for that, and I like that. I'm not sure that that was intentional, however, Tommy Prophet generally produces cinematic style songs. He's an excellent artist, and you should check him out if you haven't. And if you'd like for me to react to one of his songs, I will do that. But one of the things that I was looking forward to in this album, or that I was expecting from this album that did not meet my expectation, was, after Perception, where we had songs like Intro 3 and, well, specifically Intro 3, where he dealt with a lot of his fear and overcoming that, and also overcoming the next big move for, himself, whether or not his music had to be somber or not. One of the things that I was kind of expecting to see from this was a journey of self-discovery, and that's not what we got in this album. That's not a problem. This album, the best way that I can describe this album is absolutely heartbreaking. Every single song that comes to offhand, it was like a knife going into my heart, hearing Nate talk about all these different things and how he was feeling, and how in, moments of his greatest success, he's experiencing the most pain, and that was so upsetting to me, because I feel like, as considering all he's done for me and everybody else in terms of producing real content and real music, how he can be suffering so much. So that was, but at the same time, in pain, sometimes some of the best art is produced, and I think that's exactly the case here. This is an album of 20 songs, one of which we had an extended version of Time. Granted, I haven't exactly analyzed Time really close to see what the difference between the extended version and the normal version is, so if you know, please put it in the comments below. And we also have Why again, which is perfectly fine considering we still get more than 12 tracks, which is what we're used to. Another thing I found interesting, and I just happened to see this by accident, this album is not being distributed by Capitol Records. This is by UMG on behalf of, which it says that, I'm not using those are not my original words, on behalf of NF Real Music. So I think the label change is interesting, unless I'm just stupid and I'm missing something. And if that's the next step for Nate, then more power to him. I really appreciated, in several of the songs, I really appreciated how the Christian theme was consistent, however it was not explicitly focused on, and I appreciate the fact that Nate makes a point to recognize his faith and religion without alienating, non-believing or atheist audiences. I appreciate that. Another thing I'd like to talk about is that, more on production, One of the things that I really appreciate about Nate as an artist is the fact that when you come to listen to his songs, you don't come for the production and you don't come for the sound of the voice. Not that either one of those things are bad, because Nate has both of those things. But production and the sound of the voice is a massive seller for a lot of artists that have no content in their lyrics and no skill to what they're saying. Every single song on this album is expertly crafted in terms of flow, the syllable arrangement. The rhymes were all unique, interesting, and different. And the messages were amazing and astounding, like genuinely. I think that a standout track in terms of message was Nate, which was essentially his message to himself, his younger self, explaining like, listen kid, this is not going to turn out the way you think it is. Don't get discouraged. And that track alone is when I heard that track, I immediately kind of sat back and I was like, man, it's kind of sad because, when I'm listening through this, I think, I wish I could do something, but there's nothing there's nothing that we really can do besides say that, Nate, we love you and we love the content that you produce. Because everything on this is amazing. There are plenty of standout tracks. Another thing that I was concerned about was because of the high track count, we wouldn't have as many memorable songs, and that was not the case at all. Nate delivered every single time. Everything from Leave Me Alone, which got stuck in my head the first time viewing, Change is excellent, Nate and Time, those were, Nate blew me away. It's one of the most uncomfortable songs to listen to, but it's also one of the most important, and I really appreciate that. It's amazing. Even the interlude was interesting and felt important, and it served as an explanation for this album and what it really means. Above all, as a fourth entry, this album blows it away. One of the things that I love about NF's albums is this, but I talked about this whenever Perception came out. Every single album felt like its own movie and its own installment of a movie. And you went from your great first movie with Mansion, only to expand on the sequel and then blow us away in the third installment. And here we are, the fourth installment. We're about to get into things. What's going to happen? Who's going to live? Who's going to die? It's a real cinematic piece of musical art. And this delivers in every sense of the word. It's an amazing album. And so yeah, for those of you who are still not convinced about getting into this album for whatever reason, but want to hear some samples of my favorite tracks on the album, these are them. So for one, Only, which was the ironically only track on this that had a feature, Only is really, really good. Hate Myself blew me away. I was sitting in my bed when I heard this, and I was like, I've got to tell somebody, and it was like 12 in the morning. It's like, I've got to tell somebody's got to hear this. Returns is an excellent blood pumper, if you know what I mean. It's the kind of song you would listen to in a gym, and that brings up a future video idea, which I'll do real soon. It's going to be my top 5 NF workout songs, and I think it's going to be good. Leave Me Alone, of course, is excellent. It has a music video, When I Grow Up, and I think, of course, The Search is amazing. And Trauma is absolutely beautiful, and it's that heartbreak. It's like where Nate put the knife in, Trauma began to twist it. It was, oh man, I can't explain the emotional lows that I went to listening to this album, and that's exactly what, to be honest, that's exactly what I expected, or not expected. That's exactly what I would want from an experience like this. And one of the things that I can say about this album is that it is, without a doubt, an experience, and it's something that has to be experienced from start to finish, all the way through. Granted, every single album needs to be experienced from start to finish. That being said, without a doubt, my favorite track on the album is Time. It hits all the highs, it hits all the lows, it does everything that I'd want an NF song to do, and I loved it. I genuinely loved it. So if we're looking at a rating, I'm going to give NF's The Search a 95%. Like I said, NF is my favorite rapper. He's a talented artist, and I absolutely adore his work. So yeah, that's my review for NF's The Search. So thank you guys so much for watching. I have a review and reaction for Skillet's brand new song coming up, probably at the same time this is going to be uploaded. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if there's something you want me to review, a song, album, movie, a brand of toothbrushes. I'll do it. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.